G'day guys, what's cracking? It's Ralph here, and today I want to show you the perfect waterfall setup when it comes to a CPL filter and an ND 2 to 5 stopper. Put them together, you have a banging combo for a waterfall. Now we're at Curtis Falls and you will see that the fall of the water is terrible. It's because we're in drought, there's not a lot of water around, but I'm hoping I can get an image and talk you through how we get that image using these two filters to create something that's spot on. Alright, so here's my setup, and you can see right now, I'll put on the screen what you can see through my camera. You will notice that my f-stop is on 8. I'm going to move that up to 11 because I think 11 is perfect for this lens. I'm going to make sure I'm exposed perfectly correctly. In this sort of scenario, I would never expose perfectly correctly, but I want to show you the difference the filters make on the lens to do that. I've got my ISO at a minimum. I'm going to put it on 100 because that's where many of you would operate. So let's move the we'll move the shutter speed, so that gives us a second. Here's the base shot that we are working with when I focus on the rocks down the bottom. Let's go. Alright, so that's the image that we are working with. Now let's apply a CPL filter. So all filters, they just have a thread and they screw onto the front of your lens. You just need to be careful when you do it, and I would recommend always using 2 hands. There you go, just has to take. You screw it all out so it's nearly tight. You don't want it super tight. Now, CPL filter has 2 lenses that work together. As they work together, they reduce the glare. So we're looking for the glare on the rocks. They're reducing that, and they're going to increase the saturation, but you also lose the stop. You will see the color change in the display of the shot. And then as I twist it, look at what happens with the glare on the rocks at the bottom of the waterfall and the saturation of the shot. You see it changes? And so I'm going to twist it all the way around until I'm happy with my saturation. What happens is I go a bit too far, and then I'm going to pull it back a little bit, and I am more than stoked with that. And you'll see the rocks at the bottom of the waterfall aren't glary, and the green at the top of the waterfall is nice and bright and good to go. That means we lose a stop of exposure, and so I need to increase my shutter speed to 2 seconds, and I'm going to shoot that, and then I'm going to put those 2 photos next to each other so you can see where we started and what we've done so far. Filters come in these beautiful cases, very hard. They have a nice foam insert, just pop open, beautiful foam insert, and there's a little bit of a indent for the filter to sit nicely in so it doesn't bang around in your bag. Now we have an ND filter, and I can actually apply the ND filter over the top of the CPL, or I can take the CPL off and apply this. An ND filter is a neutral density filter. It means you can change your exposure from 1 stop, 2 stop, 3 stop, 4 stop, or 5 stop in this case. So 1 stop is the CPL, then we go 2 to 5 on this, and it has different degrees of which I measure, and it clicks along so I know where I'm up to with changing them, which decreases the amount of vignette you might get in a shot, or distortion, or difference in color exposure in the shot. So let's put this on, and as you will see from the screen, it already changes what it looks like. Very easy to put on, even looks really cool because it's got these 2 red bands. And let me just run through the different stops of exposure. So you need 2 hands to change this. This is 2 stops you'll see on the screen. You can tell by the right hand side light meter. Let's go forward 1 stop. So that's 3 stops, that's 4 stops, and that's 5 stops. When you put an ND filter on a camera, when you're shooting photography, it allows you to change your exposure. When you put an ND filter on a lens when you're shooting video, it allows you to change your aperture. So with an ND filter, because there's so much light in a shot, you can often have to increase your aperture to account for the amount of light. And so with an ND filter, you can lower your aperture. It means you create some depth of field with your video. This is at 5 stops. We're at 30 seconds for this shot. That's too much for a waterfall shot, honestly. I could back it off, but what I want to do, because there's not a lot of water happening, I want to do a longer exposure and see if we can make it look like there's more water coming out of the waterfall than actually is. And now we wait for 30 seconds. So you can, of course, just put the ND filter on, or just put the CPL filter on, or just buy the CPL, or just buy the ND, that's no worries. What you do want to make sure is when you're putting it on, that you have to screw it a fair bit. If you're like screwing a little bit and it feels secure, it's actually the thread's out of line and it's just holding. So just release it and then screw it back on. You don't want this popping off when you're using it and just being like devoed, because you've got a big gash, crack, or smash to it. Now, 30 seconds is up. Let's preview that shot and see how it looks. And if we compare that to the other shots, you see the difference, right? So we start there, and as we add our filters we go through. But that, I love the greenness, the brightness, because we don't have any sun today. That is with the CPL on. Alright, so using these two filters, I'm now going to take the shot that I would take if I came out here, and we'll see how that looks compared to all the others. What I would do is I would slightly underexpose. That would give me 3 seconds. I actually want, 3 seconds for a waterfall shot is really nice. I like the way the CPL is affecting the rocks, and I'm going to shoot that. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the shot you can achieve with the perfect waterfall filter setup. You can get them from Moment, and these are the sizes that they come in, as well as the price. It's a really good bargain, so I'd encourage you, if you're looking for something that'll be versatile, whether it comes to video, whether it comes to photography and long exposure, taking the glare, increasing the saturation, or taking photos of rainbows. You want to take a banger shot of a rainbow, use a CPL filter to do that. Little bit of a tip for you, and the links are all down below for your viewing pleasure as we wrap things up. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it if you'd subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Will give us nice Krispy Kreme results, not Krispy Kreme the donut.